Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Joining me, as always, every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time is Big Man on Campus, where we take a look at the upcoming Saturday slate of college football games, take a look at some late line movements, and, of course, finalize our picks, which, Big Man, I'm happy to say that as of right now, is positive, and that doesn't mean if you combine it right. Each of our records are positive. In this show, I do track them religiously, which is, as you know, a very treacherous thing to do, and a lot, easier to say that you're going to do than to actually do. But your record in this show, official picks you've given, 15 and 12, ATS 56%, average line minus 110. Very nice there, Big Man, plus 1.8 units. And my record after two losses last night. After two losses last night is now 29 and 22, 57% plus 4.9 units. So overall, those are very respectable records, and I might add both better than the reported sharp action from Brent from DSI. The sharp so far this year in the DSI show in college football, just 19 and 18 ATS for minus 0.8 of a unit. So we're both beating the sharps. We're both positive units. You know, it's tough to get an edge on these games, big sample size. But so far, we have done it heading into Week 5, Big Man.
You know, I always told you we were sharp, Peter, and you didn't want to believe me. But there's numbers showing.
The jury's still out. I'll be honest with you right now. I'm not feeling real sharp after last night. I gave Illinois plus 6. I thought it was a good bet. In retrospect, I still think that it probably was. Illinois is a young team, but they were coming off of a bye, and Nebraska is just such an inconsistent team. And then I gave the over in the Miami-Duke game, which is also a loss. I knew that Miami was the right side there, didn't have the balls to give it. And early in the week, I said that I liked the under in the friggin' Washington State game, but didn't give it 65. And by the time we were doing the video yesterday, it was all the way down to like 61 or 60 and a half. So, and there's also some other totals on today's card that I also liked early in the week that I didn't have the guts to pull the trigger on early in the week that have since moved. So I'll tell you what, I don't know about how I'm going to do in Week 5, Big Man, but in Week 6, I'm going to give all my leans early in the week as soon as I like them, because they tend to be right, and the lines definitely move later on. You know, and you want to get those 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, that's what I did last time. It didn't end up mattering. I had Duke under 56.5. That didn't end up really meaning anything,
Nice.
but I got a good number. I got 56.5. It ended up dropping. And Peter, look, I want to call myself. I took Washington State on the money line last night, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling pretty good about my life. So we'll move on.
So maybe you're going to have a better.
I had over last night though, Washington State, which just missed. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Ready to attack.
I mean, as we thought, the line closed at like 59 and wound up landing 57. So that could have easily been middled and would have been a perfect example of why getting the best line is very important. So let's get into today's card. I do have the reported sharp action here from Brent as well, and one total that I wanted to give, Big Man, early in the week, and I didn't really, purely just because of a lack of balls. I was like, well, maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. Maybe there's something that is going to come up later that'll show me I'm on the wrong side. Turned out to not be the case, and in fact, it was reported that Brent from BetDSI, Brent told us that sharp action did come on this one. He was the over 81 in Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. I bet it as soon as it came out at over 81, but I didn't have the balls to give it as an official pick. Now it's up to about 84 market wide, although it's come down a bit at Bookmaker and DSI, now down to 83. Obviously, this one has shootout written all over it. Last year, the game went to 89. I predicted the line would open in the upper 80s. So when it came out at 81, I jumped all over it. What do you think of it now at like 83 or 84? Yeah,
this is a pick I'm going to give out. I'm going to go over in this game, 83 and a half. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to not give it a try here. This may lose. It might be 41, 30, and I lose. Right. But it's hard to not get involved. Last year, Peter, I got involved with Oklahoma, Texas Tech. It was 66-59. I think we see a similar outing here. Right. Both these teams love to throw the football. Pace is important. Both these teams are pretty quick pace-wise. It's just, for me, I'm gonna be really annoyed if I don't bet it and it's 61-60. So I'm gonna go with it. Look at the last, I think 6 above 85 in college football. 5 have went over the total, and it's by a wide margin. I think we see 100 points in this game, Peter.
All right. Well, the line right now is split market wide, 83, 83 and a half, 84, or 84 and a half. Coming down in some places. Best line right now is at Bookmaker and BetDSI, which is actually 83 minus 110 on the over. And I will take that one as well. I bet it again at 81 on the opening line, and wish I had given it there. But, last night I wish I had given the friggin' under in the Washington State game, even though the line moved. And here, if this one lands on 82, I'm going to be very annoyed, big man. But that's what happens. You got to have balls. You got to act quick when you know you have an edge, and that's going to be my mantra for week 6 coming up. For right now, for week 5, we're both going to add that one onto our official plays. There are 2 other plays that I've given so far this week in videos early this week. Let's get your opinion on these picks. One was actually early in the week, very early in the week. Marty Ice asked me to give a football pick, my best football pick early in the week, and I did give the under 52 in Northwestern and Wisconsin. And yesterday, that line had crashed all the way down to 48. Now, though, I'm seeing that it's back up to about 50, 50 and a half, or even 51 at Bookmaker Bet DSI. So I'm a little bit concerned about the recent line move favoring the over, although it's still lower than where I gave it. Obviously, we know that Wisconsin with Hornibrook has a more dynamic offense this year than they have had in years past. I think they'll be able to shut down Northwestern, but what's your take on the total in that one?
Yeah, I think you're on the right side there, Peter. I think both those teams are kind of crawl crawl a little bit. Both these teams are good defensively. Wisconsin, not as good as past years, but these 2 teams just play slow. I mean, I could see like a 24-17 type of game here.
Yeah.
I didn't look much into it, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's ever a bad thing. I actually kind of like Northwestern in this game. I don't know enough to give it out, but I kind of feel like they would hang around in this game. I think we're seeing some of these teams. We've seen it in the Pac-12 a lot, where teams are laying 16, 17, 15 to pretty decent teams, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. I actually said, Peter, before the season, I thought at 18-1, I took Northwestern to win the Big Ten. I thought if they could get by Wisconsin, we would have a shot to hedge in the title game, and I think this is a big game for Northwestern. I think they're going to be ready for it. You know what, Peter? I'm going to go with Northwestern here. I feel like they hang around in this game. I don't think Wisconsin's as strong as they usually are. I'm going to grab the 16 here with Northwestern.
You want to make that an official pick?
Yeah, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to do this.
All right. Well,
it's kind of been in my head all week, and I don't like it enough to hammer it, but I like Northwestern. I think they hang around.
All right, well, we're going to give you plus 16, plus 100, which is a line right now at Pinnacle. That's an interesting call there. Yeah, I'm expecting a low-scoring game. Definitely concerned about the by the way, is my audio dropping in and out like it was last week?
No, I haven't had you drop out at all.
Okay. Great, good. All right, so look, I'm going to stick with my play on the under. I'm definitely concerned about the late move that's driven the line higher, but that's that's one of my plays. And then the other play that I gave earlier in this week, actually I gave it last night in my video with Steve from collegefootballwinning.com, and it is the over in the Miami, Ohio, Notre Dame game. It's a 53.5 at most places. I gave 53 minus 115 at betonline, just feels like Notre Dame has a ton of power on offense. They're going to run all over Miami here. And Miami, for their part, has, not a great, but I think a decent offense, decent enough to put up some points and get this one over. It's interesting that Steve liked Miami at plus 21, and Sharp Action reportedly came in on Miami at, I think it was plus 23 or something like that. But Sharp Action has clearly strongly been on Miami. I don't know if I agree with that one. I think that I'm impressed with what Notre Dame has done this year, and I think they're going to steamroll mediocre to weak teams this year. So I'm not sure what I think about the side, but I definitely gave the over 53 on this one, and it hasn't moved since I gave it, and it actually hasn't moved since it opened, and I think I'm liking it. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a tough game. I think anything over 3 touchdowns, I would consider the dog, but I don't want to mess with Notre Dame at home. They get calls constantly at home. They're just a pretty decent home team overall. I think your over is a good play. I think they'll get into the 30s. I want to say that I think Miami, Ohio can get 20 here. I think this is honestly, I think it's like a 41-20 type of game. I think you have a good play there on the over. I actually like that play. Yeah, so the over is one of my official plays on that one. So as of right now, I am 1-2 in my official plays on the week. I had Texas Iowa State under on Thursday, and I got 2 picks that I gave earlier this week, and then I just added, along with Big Man, the over 83 in Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. There are definitely a bunch of other plays that I'm thinking about that I either bet or am thinking about betting. Let's just go down the slate here. What caught my eye? Let me see. One game, actually, this is a minor game.
game, big man. I don't know if you looked into it much, but it is Central Michigan against BC. The total got bet up weirdly from 49 up to about 52, and I bet that one on the under at 52. I know Boston College, again, supposedly playing a higher paced offense this year, but they have injuries offensively. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done here. We know that Central Michigan has injuries offensively as well, and so I'm leaning to the under here, and also considering all the injuries that Boston College does have right now, I was also thinking that Central Michigan getting double digits might also be worth a shot. What do you think about that game, if you have anything to say about it at all?
Yeah, I don't really think Central Michigan should be laying double digits to anyone. Are they really that much better class than Central Michigan, a middling MAC team? I'm not sure. Yeah, gun to my head, I would take Central Michigan. I think Shane Marsh is starting to kind of feel himself at Central Michigan. They do have injuries, though. If they were fully healthy, I'd be much more inclined to take the dog here at double digits. But Boston College, we think they're going to turn the pace up, but they haven't really done much of that this year. Off of blood against Clemson, I don't have much here. I hate Boston College. I can't stand them. I don't.
All right, I will take the under on this one. It's actually gone down a bit from last night. It was 52. Now it's 50.5 or 51, but BetOnline and sportsbetting.ag still have 52 minus 120. So I'll take the under on that one. Central Michigan and BC under 52 minus 120. That's an official pick. Let me check some of these other games that I was thinking about. Here's another one. I don't know how much you looked into it, but Syracuse against NC State. Now we know that NC State, obviously a ferocious front seven this year, right? And Syracuse, we know, playing an up-tempo air raid offense, which has been somewhat productive, but they still don't quite have a deep threat that kind of hamstrings them a little bit. I mean, they still have to, do like short passing and moderate passing, and I think that that's going to make them vulnerable here. So their games haven't been totally explosive in terms of the offensive points they put up. We saw the game against Middle Tennessee State, which I think is going to be similar to this game here. That one just went to 53. I'm kind of liking the under here at 62, which is still, there are some 62s available. What do you think about the under in Syracuse, NC State? Do you have an opinion on the side?
I'm on the other side. I like the over in this game at 62.
Really?
61.5. Well, I mean, you look at both these teams. I mean, all they do is throw. I mean, there's not much run game here. Both these teams abandon that. And Peter, pace is important when you're looking at over-unders. Syracuse at 5th in the country. NC State at 17th. I mean, both these teams just go up and down the field. And I think you made a good point about the defensive line for them is ferocious, North Carolina State, but I think their secondary has a little bit to be desired. I saw in week 1, I thought they struggled against South Carolina. They can't, unfortunately, the defensive line can't play corner or safety. So if they're not getting to the quarterback, and Dungy we know is a mobile guy, he can get out of the pocket. Babers up tempo. I see like a 44-28 game here. I think yeah.
Because I'm seeing it as like NC State, they pass a lot, but they do have kind of a dink and dunkish offense. And Syracuse also a team, again, because they don't have a deep threat, I think that they're going to be more vulnerable to NC State's, front seven. And yeah, vulnerability in the secondary for sure. But all right, well, I'm leaning under on that one. You're leaning over. You can give that one officially, or are we going to agree to disagree on that one? But neither one go on officially.
I gave that out on the one of the videos I did this week. I'm going to go with it. I think it's I'd be irritated if I didn't. I'll go over 61.5 minus 112 at where was that at? I can get you way.
Well, why don't you just take 61 minus 113 at BetOnline?
All right, there it is. Perfect. Rock
over 61 minus 113 in Syracuse, NC State. I'm still leaning under on this one, and there is some 62s available at the Greek. So, all right, I'll think about what I want to do there. But, big man, so you're on Syracuse over 61 minus 113. I can certainly understand why. Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to answer one of the questions here in the chat. BMOC, tell me why I should put 5 units on Pittsburgh. Because they have a quarterback controversy right now. I don't think they're very good defensively, personally. Actually, we know they aren't. And look, is Rice terrible? Yes. But this is a high-level, Power 5 opponent. Maybe they'll play tough here. I don't know. I couldn't bet that many points 5 units on a 3-touchdown underdog like Pittsburgh. Peter, you couldn't do that, could you? I can't bet on Pittsburgh.
Well, that was actually one of the few bets that I did make on the opening line. As soon as it came out, I got, I think, 20 or 21. I don't remember what I got, but it's obviously, if ever, Pittsburgh is in a down year. They're coming into this one salty, and if there ever is a spot where they're going to be motivated to get a big margin win, it's here. The question is just, as you said, do they have the offense to get it done? Not exactly sure. So my answer to that question is no. I would not put a 5-unit play on it, but I would put a 1, maybe even a 2-unit play on it. I did bet it. I bet at my standard unit size when it came out, and I'm not going to take it back. I'm going to ride with it. The question is just how dominant will Pittsburgh be able to be?
If they put in Ben DiNucci at quarterback, then yeah, I'd be more inclined to do it. But if Max Brown's in there, I don't think Max Brown is very good. I think you're going to struggle. Yeah, look, like Peter said, I wouldn't go heavy on it. Look, if you want to bet your normal play on it, sure. I'm not going to talk you out of it. Rice is dreadful, but just remember they're poor defensively, really poor.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
They're really poor defensively, Rice.
Yes. So I was also thinking maybe about a shot with the over on that one, but I guess we'll hold off on that one for now. Then another game you were talking about before about the pace and passing. This is a game I was thinking about taking a shot with the over on. It's New Mexico State against Arkansas. Obviously, New Mexico State is a very pass-heavy offense. They do have a quarterback who is capable, so they can put up some points against some people at some times. And Arkansas, of course, an SEC team here, but I'm thinking that Arkansas might open it up offensively here. But even got a shot with the over 61, New Mexico State and Arkansas.
Yeah, all of a sudden, New Mexico State has a really good up-tempo offense. I mean, they can throw and run. Yeah, I like that play. I mean, we know Austin Allen and Arkansas is going to move the football. New Mexico State not great defensively. Yeah, I like that play, Peter.
Yeah, and especially since Arkansas, probably you have to assume that they're kind of pissed off after the Texas A&M game. They also have a second quarterback, that 6'7" guy, Cole Kelly, who he's a 6'7" quarterback. They use him in weird and quirky ways. So I'm thinking about a shot with the over there. I'll think about that as well. That's just something I was thinking about, and I did bet small. Let's see what else is interesting on today's slate of games. A lot of things that I'm thinking about. Nothing that I'm necessarily super loving. Let's go to you, big man. Is there anything that you want to specifically bring to our attention right now?
Yeah, I have a couple here. I'll go first one, 177. I'm going to go Vanderbilt +9. I just don't understand this line. I mean, I know Vanderbilt got crushed last week, and I'm aware of that. But at the end of the day, Peter, all that matters is it's a loss in the L column against Alabama. That's how I really look at it. I think Vanderbilt's about as close to the Naval Academies as you're going to get. I think they're disciplined. I think just the way they are as a football team, I think they're going to bounce back and really show their football coach something. He called them out last week after the game. And I think in this one, I just think Florida's really – I don't think they're very good. I mean, they've won 2 games this year that I think they should have lost. I don't think they're really capable of winning by double digits here. And I think the new quarterback's going to be a little – they're just always at limbo quarterback. They never have anyone set in there, and I don't think Del Rio is good as it is. Vandy's covered the last 2 of these 2. I think they can win outright personally, but I'll take the 9 points here. We've seen a couple of these games this year, Peter, where a team you really think can win is getting a lot of points. I'm gonna grab this one this week. Is that one for me? I'll go Vandy +9.
All right. I was actually I looked at this game a little bit deeper, and I was thinking about, we've seen a lot of underdogs that were appeared at first glance to have some value, but then the favorites covered easily. I'm thinking actually, I don't think it's going to be an easy cover for Florida, but my sense is actually that Florida might actually be the play here, or maybe even more so on the over. I think that Florida's offense works a little bit better with Del Rio at quarterback. If Vandy's smart, they'll attack through the air. I think they might have some success because, again, Florida's defense is not the elite unit that it was in the past. So I would have a slight lean actually to Florida, but I'm not going to bet that one. And the over actually, I think we might see a little bit of a higher scoring game than in the past. Do you think that, how do you feel about Vandy's quarterback? Do you think he'll be able to put up some points here on Florida? Do you think it's going to be a 13-7 game?
Yeah, I think he will. I think their offense is, I got to be real, I think it's just, if not better than Tennessee's. I mean, Tennessee has one good player. I think he'll move the football. He comes from good bloodlines. He's a quarterback that did struggle last week, but I think he'll be fine. And overall, Peter, this looks to me a lot like Missouri, Purdue. I don't think they should be this big a favorite. It doesn't make any sense to me. Florida has won by the skin of their teeth. They could be 0-3. I mean, very, very oddly. I'll take the points. I just think it's too many.
Okay, hold on one second. All right, so we will give you a 9. Hold on one second. We will give you. Let me just check what the line is here. 9 minus 108. 9 minus 108 is the current line at Pinnacle on Vandy on that one. All right, let's see what else we got for today's card. You said there's another one you want to give. What's that one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that really late game, Peter, out on the Hawaii coast. I'm going to take Colorado State minus 6.5 here. I think this is a really solid play. I think Hawaii is a team that I think is really going to struggle all year against teams that are better than them. They did last year, and I think they're going to this year. Colorado State got there Thursday afternoon, Peter. They put a ton of stock into their trip to Hawaii. They know it's a tough trip. I've read some interesting things about the lengths they've went to be prepared for this game. They know the kind of trip it is. I think they're going to be mentally prepared, physically prepared, and I just think they're going to be a better team that imposes their will and a team not as good as them. I like their quarterback. I like their offense. I think they run all over Hawaii. Hawaii has made it clear, Peter, since we've looked at them, they can't really stop anyone. And they're 3-13-1 in their last 17 at home against the spread. I like Colorado State here. I think they're the better football team. And I think late night, all that Hawaii money that usually comes in is going to go to the books.
Okay, minus 6.5, minus 104 right now on Pinnacle. Yes, I am high on Colorado State in general this year. That is a game that I've not looked into in depth, so I have no opinion on line value there. There are 2 games though that are interesting to me. We'll see what you have to say about them. The first one is Iowa and Michigan State. Right now, obviously, this is a very interesting game, both coming off of kind of deflating losses for different reasons. Iowa almost beat Penn State, and Michigan State got blown out by Notre Dame. My sense is here though that we're more likely to see a bounce back from Michigan State. My other sense is also that we are likely to see the typical low-scoring game between Iowa and Michigan State. So I wanted to get 3 on this one, and it did actually temporarily dip down to 3 at the Greek and 5 dimes, and I grabbed it at that. So I actually did bet 3. Now there are no 3s; it's 3.5 or 4 at some places. Obviously, Iowa can be great with that running back who can eat up the clock and gain yardage. So I'd rather be getting 3 here. My sense is still that Michigan State is the way to go. Maybe has value at 3.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Iowa, but you got to wonder what their mindset is off of last week. That was a bitter defeat, really bitter. I mean, it was just one that was just grabbed quickly from you. They're tough to bet against, though, Iowa, just because they're good with time of possession. They hang on to the football, and they're very good defensively, Peter. Michigan State let me down last week as well, though. I thought they'd have a better performance against Notre Dame. It's a pass for me, but I lean Iowa, honestly. I think they're built to beat teams, higher level teams, just the way they handle the ball and can run the football. I lean Iowa, but I think at 3 you have a great number there. So
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't usually do this when I take a money line instead of the spread because it's usually a sign of weakness. But in this case, it's not. It's because I do anticipate low scoring in this game as always. So easily a 2 or 3 point win could happen here. So I will take Michigan State on the money line right now. Minus 160 at 5 dimes is the best available line. So I will take Michigan State just to win outright. Michigan State on the money line minus 160. If it loses, I'll be willing to eat 1.5 units. But I think one way or another, Michigan State finds a way to pull out a win here. And then the next game that's interesting is one that, again, another one that I didn't jump on the opening line, and it was something that I liked. And then Brent from BetDSI told us that sharp action came in on this side, and it is Akron at Bowling Green. I'm liking Akron to get a win. They opened at about Pick'em. I think the sharp action came in at Pick'em, and now they're up to a minus 2.5 or 3. I don't know if you looked into this one, big man, but you think that's action worth tailing?
Yeah, we talked about this game on the Brown table for some reason. I think it was the degenerate game of the week. I actually kind of lean Bowling Green. I like what I've seen from they put a new quarterback in, and he played pretty well last week. He kind of moved the offense a little bit. Akron's a poor team, but both these teams are bad. So it won't be on my card, but I, for some reason, think that injected energy from this new quarterback might spurn Bowling Green here at home. Look, they're going to win at some point. Why can't it be against Akron? Akron defensively sucks. I think they need a new coach there in Ohio. It's not a strong play, but I would lean Bowling Green if I had to play it. I like this new quarterback.
All right. Well, I'll look into it a little bit deeper, closer to kickoff. But as of right now, I'll give a pass on that one. That was one that I was leaning towards on the on the opening line. And it's interesting that that Sharps did come in on it. Although once again, big man, you're in my record in this show is or my record. You're in record in this show. My record overall in the year better than the Sharps, just 20-19 ATS so far, according to Brent from BetDSI. All right, let's see what else is interesting here that I was thinking about. Yeah, another one that I was thinking about that again I should have given it when the total came out was the under in the Baylor Kansas State game. Of course, we know that Baylor, coached by Rule, a Temple's own coach, he wants them to be more of a Temple-esque team. We know what Kansas State can do, eating up the clock, very run heavy. And I jumped on the under on that one. I think I got 58, maybe, I don't remember, I got 58 or 59 on my initial bet. Now, though, it's down to 54.5, 55, or 55.5. And again, Baylor, a team, a program in disarray, in turmoil, trying to bounce back. So maybe this year they are, going to be a little bit undervalued and underestimated. That certainly was the case last week, of course, against Oklahoma. Kansas State coming off the bye, giving double digits. You have anything to say about the side or the total in this one?
I actually think your breakdown was fantastic. I agree with you. I think the under makes sense. Slower teams. Yeah. Baylor, I think a lot of people look at them as that up-tempo, that kind of team. But, yeah, you broke it down perfectly. I'll rock with you on that. I think you're right on the under there.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is another one where I'm going to be taking a shitty number purely because I didn't have the balls to give it earlier in the week, and I'm going to be very, very whiny and complaining on Monday if this one falls between 56 or 58. But I will take the under in Baylor, Kansas State right now, 55 or 55.5. Market wide bookmaker does have 54.5, but I'll take the under 55.5 at a bunch of places, most notably Intertops, Kansas State and Baylor under 55.5. If it loses, I'll be okay with it. If it falls between 56, 57, 58, or even 59, I'll be very annoyed at myself and whine and complain. But I'm going to try to have more balls early in the week in upcoming. And I think with baseball, the regular season ending, I will have a lot more time and be able to have a lot more confident plays because, I cover the full baseball card every day, big man. And overall, I'm up like 20 units or something.
Yeah, that's impressive, Peter, especially now in baseball with it being, the final weekend for most teams. That's impressive. I stopped September 1st. So kudos to you, man. That's good stuff.
Thank you very much. I was just fishing for a compliment there. I got it. Thank you very much. And now we can move on to other football games. Big man on campus. Anything else you think might have some value?
Yeah, I got a couple more, Peter. I'm going to go Air Force. I'm not going to go Air Force. I'm going to go New Mexico. I'm getting a great number here on the Lobos at home, +3. I was hoping we get +3. This is an interesting one. You get two teams that are very similar here. Peter, I like Air Force in a game like they were in last week. At home, adverse weather conditions, elevation. You're going on the road to New Mexico. They got their quarterback back, Lamar Jordan. I think their offense is going to run a lot smoother. They've had some trouble early on. Bob Davie off the field. They've had some weird problems. But I think at home here, getting points against a team similar to them, usually I'm going to take the dog there. I think at home they're the play. I'm not really interested in Air Force on the road. At home, sure, but I'll take New Mexico +3.
All right. Well, you have a great read on these Service Academy teams in general. Right now, +3 -108 is the best line at Pinnacle. Again, that one I haven't looked into it deeply yet. Hit us with another one, big man, if you got one.
Yep. I'm going to go I think I could still get 27.5. I'm going to go Washington, -27.5 against Oregon State University. Sucks for Oregon State. They sucked already, but now their quarterback has a spine fracture, and he's not going to be playing for a long period of time. Washington's stout against the run. I think the only way Oregon State could score here is by running the football. It's not going to be easy today. They're facing one of the best rush defenses in the country. And Peter, Washington's kind of hanging behind the weeds a little bit. USC loses last night. Washington hanging right there to kind of be that other team in the Pac-12. Their offense is just as good as it was last year. Defensively, they're starting to really play well. I think this is one of the blowouts of the day, to be honest with you. I think this is a really heavy blowout. I'll go Washington, even on the road here. Oregon State is a bad, bad team.
Yeah, -27.5, -108 is the best line available right now at Pinnacle. There was sharp action that came in on this one on the under at 63, and that was also another total that I was looking at as soon as it came out, and I think I did bet it as soon as it came out at 63. Now it's down to 59, 59.5, or 60. So do you see a blowout where Washington State just lays on the points, or do you see a blowout like 49-6, something like that, and it's Washington covers the spread easily, but it still manages to sneak under?
I have this one at like 49-14. So it's kind of right around that 60-ish point number. I would lean that it goes over. I think Washington's going to put up a lot of points. Oregon State is really poor defensively. The one thing you have working is if I could see a situation where Oregon State gets shut out here. I mean, they really don't have – with their quarterback out, it's really going to hurt. And I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball at a high level either. Where
are you seeing 2 touchdowns from Oregon State?
Just maybe in garbage time late, or they maybe break a big – maybe they break a big run early. They have a pretty good running back, Ryan Nall, but they're 0-4 against the spread. Maybe they break a big run, or they grab they might have 7 points late and they get a late touchdown, and with 4 minutes left. But that's a good question, Peter. I don't know that I see 14. I was just kind of giving them that that garbage time in the end to score.
Right. All right. Well, sharp action did come in on the under. I was agreeing with that one as well. Scanning over the card, there's another total that I did bet on. I did bet yesterday when it got bet up, and that is Ohio and UMass. I don't know if you paid attention to this game at all, but it is interesting because, of course, UMass has had some pretty high-profile games. They played in week 0. They played against Tennessee last week, and remember they played them very close. It was the total, I think, opened at like 50 or 51 or 49 or wherever it was. Went all the way up to 54.5 last night. I was surprised by that. I grabbed the under. Now it's down to 53 or 53.5, 52.5 in some places. And I think I'm liking the under here again as well. I know that UMass can have a better offense against weaker defenses, but Ohio is okay defensively, and UMass is big weapons on offense, a little bit banged up. It might be a little bit conservative here. I'm thinking under on this one, just a standard play. What do you think about that one?
I don't have much of a play on the total, but Peter, I took Mass last week. I think I took him the week before against Temple. They've been a pretty good underdog team for the most part. And, at this number, I'm kind of interested in UMass. I think they hang in this game. I think it's a close game. All their quarterback and receivers are back healthy. The numbers dropped, though. I mean, that's kind of the problem. I mean, you could have got, I think, 6 or 7 earlier in the week. I didn't know it dropped down to 3.5. I'll pass at this point. Then I could have sworn I still saw it at 6, but at this number now we've kind of lost some luster. But maybe you're almost inclined to take Ohio at this point. But on the road, a team that's scrappy, I could see it close. I'll stay away. But under looks good. 2 pretty good defenses here. 2 teams that play pretty slow. Ohio's always a team that will slow it down. So I like that play.
Yeah. Right. I took the 54.5 last night. Now I'm going to have to take 53.5 as the best line at Intertops and Heritage under 53.5 minus 110. Pinnacle has 53 minus 112. So I'll take the under 53.5 minus 110 in Ohio and UMass. Let's look for some other games that we're liking here. Big man on campus. Let's see. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or you want me to fish for one and we'll talk about it? Anything that you specifically want to make sure that we get to?
One I did want to fish at, and I'm really considering making it a play of mine officially here. Army at 21.5, 22. Last year was one of the biggest plays I've ever made in college football was on Army last year against UTEP. They were playing off of a teammate passing away, and it was just a great spot for them. UTEP is dreadful, Peter. I mean, they probably are the worst team in the country. They have a terrible run defense. It's in West Point. You know what? I've talked myself into it, and I don't even know why I did, because I was going to pick it anyway, but I'm going to give it out. Army, I think they crush UTEP. And I think Kugler needs to be fired to coach UTEP. This team is going nowhere fast. I think Army has enough defensively to really kind of keep this one at bay. I think they run all over the Miners today. I think they win by 30. I'm going to go with Army here at home.
Okay, minus 21.5, minus 108 at Pinnacle is the best line right now. Other places have 22, 22.5. And that was an interesting game because I'm kind of agreeing with you. I'm thinking that Army's just going to run all over UTEP. And I'm thinking that UTEP, here and there will be able to put up a few points of their own. So I was thinking, actually, when the total came out at like 52.5, I was thinking maybe take a shot with the over. Of course, we saw what Army did last year, right? Army put up 66 on their own last year. And then this year we saw what they did against Fordham, right? When Army is motivated and has a defense that they can run on, Army will put up a 50 spot on you or a 60 spot on you. So the total opened to 52.5. I thought it might be a good play on the over. Someone commented in the video, I think it was on Monday, that be careful that they like the under. Then Brent told me that that sharp action supposedly came in on the under on this one, and now it's all the way down to 48.5, 49. BetOnline has 47.5. I mean, it's not unthinkable that 47.5. It's not unthinkable that Army on their own could score 48 here. Do you think over is a good play?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they score 45 this year, personally. You look at last year even, and I don't mean to bring this up, but I thought Army or UTEP was better. They're better last year than they are this year. They at least had a running back that was capable. Yeah, I don't really understand that move down. I think they could put up 40, 50 themselves here. I think that's a play you have to make as well here. Maybe a correlated play here.
Yeah, do it. I mean, UTEP should be able to. Obviously, it's possible that Army could put up everything on their own, but not likely. UTEP should be able to. I mean, UTEP did have. They had one scoring drive against New Mexico State. They went spread with their tight ends, and I'm thinking that they'll probably do more of that a little bit, and at least have a little bit of success with that. And I think that I don't think UTEP's going to get shut out here. I think that whatever Army scores, UTEP gets 14.
Yeah, that might be a little. That might be a little rich for them. I don't think they're shut out, put it that way. Army did lose a little bit in the linebacking core last year. Yeah, I think it's like 45-10 or something.
Right.
Like that.
All right. Well, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go against the sharp action. I'm going to go against the commenters in the Monday show who said that they like the under, although clearly based on the line move, they were totally right at 52.5. I'm going to go play with the over, and the best line now is 47.5 minus 115 at betonlinesportsbetting.ag. So I'm adding that one to my official record as well. UTEP Army over 47.5 minus 115.
They haven't been shut out at all either, Peter. They even scored 7 against Oklahoma. So, yeah, I think they're good for 10, 14 points here. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's review. Should we review the plays that we've given that big man? Let me just quickly, just so that we've got them all, I've written them all down here. You're on Army minus 21.5, New Mexico +3, Oak State, Texas Tech over 83, Northwestern +16, Syracuse over 61, Vandy +9, Colorado State -6.5, and Washington minus 27.5. In addition to the 2 plays that I've got going, I've added on today, Kansas State under 55.5, Army over 47.5, Texas Tech over 83, BC under 52, Michigan State money line at minus 160, and UMass under 53.5. All right, let's fish for more value here, big man. I like today's show. We're going through things very quickly. We're giving a lot of opinions in a short amount of time. We still got 20 minutes before kickoff. Let's look at some of these 12 o'clock games. Well, first of all, I guess let's talk about Houston and Temple. Temple has been obviously really bad so far this year. My sense is when I looked into this game a little bit deeper, not necessarily that they're going to win, they might actually be a good bet getting double digits here. Houston lost straight up as a fave to Texas Tech, and but Temple's off a long week, 2 extra rest days, and I'm thinking that maybe with the extra rest here, Temple will find a way to just hang close here. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's at home. I mean, Houston they've really been interesting. I thought they'd be a lot better offensively than they have been, but yeah, I hope they use that bye week as a week to lick their wounds a little bit. Temple, I kind of look under here, but it looks pretty square. I'm probably not gonna get involved with this one. It's an early start in Philly. Yeah, I could see where you're going here, Peter. I could see them winning Temple. Wouldn't surprise me. And Houston's been really downtrodden seemingly this year. I don't know what's up with them. 2 good defenses for the most part. I would lean under if I had to play it. Under.
Wow. First of all, I would lean under as well, and I'm shocked because last night, all week long, it was about 14, and last night it was 13 or 13.5, and I was going to give it, and I think even when we started the show, it was 13 or 13.5. I don't know what it moved, but now it's down to 10.5, 11, or 11.5. I mean, Temple has had some serious issues on the offensive line, and they know that that's been a weakness here. I've been reading that the offensive line is mad at themselves for having underperformed, and that seems to me like something that, at least in the short term, effort can give a short-term boost, and they might come in here and have a much better performance on the offensive line on this one, but it has dropped significantly, which tells me that's probably sharp action. I might throw that one on here, big man.
Yeah, I think people are realizing kind of that Houston's maybe not worthy of laying that kind of number. And, off a bye, like you said, but Temple it doesn't seem like they can move the ball. They weren't just bad against South Florida. They were dreadful. They couldn't move the ball at all. Yeah. And Houston's defensive line is scary good. I think it's a boring 20-13 type of game. I think it's low scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, I was leading under as well. You know what? I will throw it on. I'll throw on Temple plus 11.5 minus 110. That's a line right now at Heritage and Bookmaker. Other places have 11. A few places are already down to 10.5. Pinnacle is. So I'll take Temple at plus 11.5. That was definitely a way that I was hinting at, and I think I mentioned that in a bunch of the morning shows early this week. The Temple's going to have to make some unprecedented for this year improvements offensively in order for them to get a cover here. But I think they will be able to. It'll be an interesting game. But yeah, I'm definitely liking Temple here. Like them a lot more at 14, but I'll take them at 11.5 right now with kickoff 20 minutes away. All right, let's see what else is kind of interesting here. Just going down the slate of games here. Big man, I know you looked into this game because it involves a service academy here. Navy against Tulsa. This line has seen a massive move in favor of Navy, right? Minus 3.5 all the way up to 8 or 8.5. If you look at pure rushing numbers, because we know that Tulsa's been rushing a lot this year, Navy has great defensive rushing numbers. Tulsa's been terrible against the run, so just based on that, you'd figure a big edge to Navy here, but something drove this line way up. 3.5 to 8.5. It's a massive move, big man.
Yeah, and I think it was the fact that I don't think anyone has any reason to believe that Tulsa is going to get any stops in this game. This could be a game where Navy doesn't punt. We saw it last year, Peter, with them. They put up 70 like it was their day job, and they're a team off a bye, Navy. That's huge for this service academy. When you have a service academy Peter, we have to remember what they do daily is way more than any other college student does or an athlete does. A bye's huge. Tulsa's horrible. I could see a situation where they could score 2, though, as well. Navy has a little trouble defensively, but, Navy looks good on a team total here, the over. I just don't see a feasible situation. If Cincinnati can't stay within double digits, I don't really see how Tulsa can. The only thing they have working for them is that they're up tempo and it's on the road. I guess they got to try to work themselves here because they're going to score quick if Tulsa scores quick, and we know Navy with possession. Right. It's kind of weird. I think Navy's the play, but if you got 2, I'd love for you to share yourself and show us because that is great work by you. If you got 2 or whatever the original number was.
2? No, 3.5. 3.5 is where I'm. I only saw 3.5.
The original opener was 2, but you might be right. Either no, if you got 3, 4, 5, show yourself. I'd love to see that. That's good work by you.
Yeah, show yourself. Don't claim it. Show yourself. Well, I will admit that I got 72.5 on the opening line on the over, and now it's down to 70.5. Do you believe me on that one, big man?
What did it? Oh no, I know the overs moved around. Sure. I don't know that.
I got a shitty number on the over, but you'll just take my word for it that I bet 72.5, right?
Wonder here's why we could find solace in wherever the number is on the total. Sharps have, and again, I call them sharps.
It's quote unquote sharp, right?
Correct. Which I don't know that they are, but whatever. They bet the unders all year in Tulsa games. So, and they seemingly aren't ever right. So I'm feeling okay with that. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. My thought was that this one has overwritten all over it. It's 70.5, even 70 right now. 5 Dimes has 70. UWager has 70. You think that the over once again is a good play on a Tulsa game that has moved towards the under on game day?
Yes, because I could see Navy scoring 70 themselves. They're a great offense, man. They really are. And will they score 70? No, but I surely think that's the play here over the under, surely.
All right, so you're going to go official with that one? Should I go official with that one? What do you think?
Sure. I'm going to go official. I'll go official with that one. Over 70.
All right, I'll go on it with you as well. Over Tulsa, over 70. Again, this, if I didn't give it, it would, I guess, count as just a lack of balls because my only reason for not necessarily liking it right now is the fact that it's moved down and I don't understand the move. We've seen this before with Tulsa games. Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't you tell all these people
Yeah.
on here that maybe don't know how long you and I, when we agree on totals, how long has that worked for you and I? Many years.
Oh, I wish we were tracking that from day one because, yeah, and they tend to be with games like this where it's like,
Sure.
you know, kind of not a little bit of a no-brainer-ish, low-hanging fruit-ish kind of play. Don't overthink it kind of play. And yeah, when we agree on a total, it's been great. Oh, long term. I wish that you know, if we had a huge budget, we would have some, or maybe if we had interns, I would have one intern go back and find all of our plays on the totals where we agreed on it and figure out what the record was. But yeah, I'm sure it's been a great record. And all right, so we'll both be on Tulsa. Navy Tulsa over 70 minus 110 is the current line at UWager. A lot of other places have 70.5. 5 Dimes has 70. All right, that's an interesting one. All right, big man, we got to get to some of the big games, marquee games that we haven't touched on yet that we definitely have to make sure we get to. First one, Georgia, Tennessee. Obviously, that was one of the picks that you and I both had last week that cashed easily. Another one where sharp action came in on Mississippi State, drove it all the way down to 7. And by the time we were doing our show on Saturday morning, it was 3. I'm sorry. It opened at 7. It drove it all the way down to a 3, I think. It opened at 7.5. And we liked Georgia at 3. We gave it. We didn't understand the line move. And of course, in retrospect, not only was a winner, we were totally right. Georgia was an easy casher. And so now, you know, Georgia is 9 or 9.5. Tennessee, of course, looked very, very lethargic against UMass. But Tennessee also historically the kind of team that plays down to their competition or up to their competition, as the case may be. So maybe Tennessee bounces back here and covers at 9.5. What do you think?
I'm not going anywhere near Tennessee right now. I think they're a poor team. I think they're poorly coached. And I don't think they're fit to lead at all. I think Butch Jones should be fired after this game personally, unless they win or really look good. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, Peter, let me ask you a question quickly. When has Tennessee been good over the last 20 years? Honestly.
In terms of ATS, it definitely seems like every year they just underperform and underwhelm. When they're expected to be elite, they're less than elite. When they're expected to be okay or good, they're mediocre. When they're expected to be mediocre, they're kind of crappy.
They're the most
you're absolutely right.
Sports college football program in the country. There's no more team, even basketball. Their program in general is overrated. And if they weren't in the SEC, they'd be nobodies. But as far as in this game, I don't think they're mentally prepared. I've heard fights in the locker room this week with this group. I've heard a coach. Yes, I think they've quit on this team, this coach. I think they're done. And they're not any good to begin with. They have one good player. I think that Georgia will key in on him. Georgia is elite defensively. I think they're going to get run all over here, personally. And I'm sick of hearing about Neyland Stadium. I don't care how many people are in this stadium. Georgia has no problem going into tough atmospheres and getting the job done. I faded Tennessee last week. I'm going to fade them again this week. I think Georgia wins by double digits. And I think on Monday, Butch Jones is fired as coach at Tennessee. It's time to move on.
Really? So you want to add this to your slate?
Why not? Why not, Peter?
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
I
Why
like
not?
it.
Because maybe Tennessee comes back and has a good game. Right. Unexpectedly.
And by the way, Joe Everett, they won that with Peyton Manning. I wonder where they'd be without him within this program. I'm going to go with that. I think feasibly he would have to win or keep this close. Next week, you have a bye week. It'd be a perfect time to cut the cord, get Jim Bob Cooter from the NFL to come coach you. Seems like a perfect way to do things.
All right, so we are adding it. You want to add it to your official slate in this video?
Yes.
Okay. We'll give you -9, -109, which is currently the best line at it's the best line at Pinnacle. Everyone else has a 9.5, and of course, again, this line has been getting bet up since last night. Still, like I think 7 last night. It's now up to a 9, and that might be sharp action there. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Although, as we know, we're not too enamored of the sharps in general. So even if it is sharp action, we don't really care that much. All right, next huge game we have to talk about. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. Mississippi State against Auburn, and Mississippi State, of course, got shut the hell down by Georgia last week, and Georgia might have shown everyone the blueprint for how you shut down this version of Mississippi State, right? Cut off the sides, make the quarterback beat you through the air with his arm, and Auburn certainly has the defense to do that if they just, if they were able to look at the Georgia game and show it to the defense and say, just do that, we might see another margin win by a team playing Mississippi State. And after the LSU game, I'll tell you, I've had a great read on Mississippi State. I loved them against LSU, against the spread. I did not think they were going to win, but I definitely had them against the spread. And then, of course, we loved Georgia last week. And here I'm thinking that the LSU hangover goes for one more week and might not be until like late in the game, but at some point Auburn pulls away for a double-digit win. What do you think?
This is a real tough game. I think these teams are on level playing fields. I think they're fairly similar teams. I want to say that, this is a clearly much better spot for the Bulldogs after last week. Definitely, we talked about a tough one there. But I like their quarterback. I'm not sold on Auburn. I think Drew Martin made a good call early in the season. He mentioned he didn't think Auburn would be that good, and they've since were that. The better team defensive will win this game, but I think it's too many points. I would consider the underdog here, but it's not a game I've looked into much. I don't bet much on the SEC. It's not really something I'm interested in, but I would think this is decided within 7 points.
All right. I'm just concerned that I'm just thinking that Auburn might just look through the Georgia game, copy it, and Mississippi State won't be able to have an answer for that. But I'll hold off on that one as well. And then I guess what qualifies as the biggest game of the week, Clemson, Virginia Tech. Of course, they met last year in the title game, and Clemson won that one by 7. You can make a strong argument for both sides here. And Brent from BetDSI did tell us that sharp action came in on both sides of this one throughout the week. Sharp action at Clemson minus 6.5. Sharp action on Virginia Tech at +8. So basically, Brent says that any result here will be great for the books unless Clemson wins by 7, in which case it'll be a big disaster and they'll take a big loss on this game. A lot of action from the public on both sides, a lot of action from the sharps on both sides, and it is sitting right smack in the middle right now, 7. There are a few 7.5s available. What do you think? My take is that Clemson probably a tick less good than they were last year. Virginia Tech probably a tick better than they were last year. I would lean Virginia Tech at 7.5 here. What do you think?
At 7, I'm all over Clemson, Peter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I think Virginia Tech's a solid football team. Don't get me wrong. They've had some nice showings this year, but I thought they struggled against West Virginia defensively. They gave up points against East Carolina, and I'm not saying that means anything here, but you have a team in Clemson who is so elite defensively. I think that this home stuff for Virginia Tech's being a little overblown here. Clemson's a team that will come in and slap you in the face. I don't think Virginia Tech this year, they don't have that mystique of being able to beat a team like Clemson. They're pretty good. I think there's going to be a little bit of a reality check for them here. Clemson's a team that seemingly gets bet against every week. And I think did you say that there's split action here on this game?
Big split action for both the sharps and the public, and the sharps, of course, got the best of it. The sharps took Clemson minus 6.5 and Virginia Tech +8.
Okay, so yeah, we're getting that middle number here. I said before at 7, I would like Clemson. Anything higher, I just think for number wise, it doesn't make sense. But I think they win this one probably by 10. I think they'll do it to pull away. I still wonder about their quarterback situation. Is Kelly Bryant the real deal? We haven't seen a ton from him. We'll see here on the road in a tough atmosphere. I think there's still plenty of great offensive weapons, though, and defensively, they're just better. I mean, who has Virginia Tech played against? I mean, every team they've played is just a dreadful defense. They're going to get humbled, I think, in this game and probably be shut down.
Does it concern you that there are reported injuries in the secondary for Clemson? I have a note here on my notes that Clemson might be without 3 of their top 4 cornerbacks. Marcus Edmond, of course, hasn't played since week 2, but then last week Trayvon Mullen suffered a concussion, and then Mark Fields suffered a glute injury. Got to work out those glutes. Can't just be all arms and chest. You got to work out legs. Don't ignore legs, boys. And so three injuries in the secondary for Clemson.
Yeah, Peter, as you know, I'm all about stretching. So, yes, you do have to work out every portion of the body.
Yes. Don't ignore legs or cardio.
Right. I will say this, though. I don't think for Clemson, it's next man up. Dabo Swinney brings in the best recruits every year.
Yeah.
I think for them, it's just going to be next man up. And I didn't hear any defensive line injuries there, so I think we'll be okay here.
Right. And the replacements, they're now a little thin, but the replacements in my notes here have done pretty well in general. So it might not be too much of a hit that Clemson takes here, even if all three of those guys are out. Yeah, go ahead.
One other one. A couple people in the chat are talking about Florida State Wake here. Listen, I mean, I feel like if you didn't bet Wake by now, you're definitely getting a poor number. I think this is down to – what's this down to? 7.5. Wow. I feel like this game was higher, no?
No. It opened at 7.5 and it's been 7 or 7.5 all week.
Game went to 10 at one point. I must have been thinking about the wrong game here. That's my apologies. I'm looking at the wrong game. Yeah, as far as that Wake Florida State, this could be a game where Florida State just kind of says, you know what, it's Wake. We're going to impose our will and just are better than, physically they are. But Wake has improved. They're at home here, play great defense. And I'm concerned that Florida State can't move the ball. Wake is a good defense. Yeah. They're better overall than NC State is. This could be a close game, but I'm not going to play it. I'd lean Wake, but it won't be on my record.
Yeah, I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on this one because obviously Florida State at some point is going to have some line value at some point this year. Not sure if it's this year, but this is a very good version of Wake Forest. Wake Forest usually plays Florida State tight, so but because of the spot, I feel like the spot really favors Florida State here. But I'm very, for Wake Forest has a great quarterback this year. They're not turning it over, so it's Wake Forest is playing a very good brand of their style of football, and that game's just going to be a pass for me, except for slight lean on the under, but I'm even going to pass on that. All right, we got about 4 minutes before kickoff here. Anything that you want to get to, big man, before we wrap it up and review all of our plays, just in case anyone missed them.
You know what, Peter? I got to add this one. I'm going to add it. I got one more.
All right.
East Carolina, South Florida over. Donnie Wright thinks it's going to be the highest scoring game of the day. I think South Florida puts up 50, 55, maybe 60 here. Mm-hmm. I think South Carolina is good, or East Carolina is good for, 17, 20. I think I have to go over here. I have to take a shot with this one.
All right, we give you 72.5 minus 110 or 73 plus 100. Which would you prefer?
I'll go with the 72.5 here.
All right, East Carolina over 72.5 minus 110. That is a line at BetDSI, the Greek, a few other places, 5 dimes. All right, so let's review all of the picks that we've given. You've given East Carolina over 72.5, Georgia minus 9, New Mexico plus 3, Army minus 21.5, Texas Tech over 83, Tulsa over 70, Northwestern plus 16, Syracuse over 61, Vanderbilt plus 9, Colorado State minus 6.5, Army minus 21.5, and Washington minus 27.5. I've given Army over 47.5, Texas Tech over 83, BC under 52, Michigan State money line minus 160, Tulsa over 70, UMass under 53.5, Temple plus 11.5, Kansas State under 55.5. And that's in addition to 2 other plays that I gave earlier in the week, including the Notre Dame over, which I'm really liking. That might be my favorite play of the entire week. And I guess we can wrap it up, big man. What do you think?
Yeah, Peter, I wasn't able to give it out because no book can offer it. I told you North Dakota State last week. If you can get it again this week, they're going to crush Missouri State. I gave it out on the Best Bet Roundtable. If you can get North Dakota State, bet it. They're going to win by 50 today.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If I have any other plays that I'm liking from the 7 o'clock or on games, I will tweet them out. And that's it. Nice call, big man. Hopefully we'll come back next week still with positive records. Proud of what we did this week. And the mantra for me, again, next week, now that the baseball regular season is over, is I'm going to try to force myself to have more balls early in the week, Monday and Tuesday, and beat some of these line moves, big man.
A lot of plays, Peter, this week. Let's get it. We'll see you next week for College Football.
Let's get it.